One by one, we walked the labyrinth beneath Summerdown, and one by one we came to the engine, dark and cold at its heart. We each carried a lantern, and when we reached the central chamber, we hung them on hooks, spreading light into the corners, so that by the time the last man entered, Dennis Rigby, 17, and as devoted to Gerard as any soldier twice his age, the engine was pitilessly illuminated, all its claws and spurs and strange stained gears. The light also showed Gerard, looking better than he had for nearly 2 indictions. The lines of tension that marked him even in sleep finally eased, his eyes bright and clear and untroubled. He stood beneath one of the lanterns, consulting a sheaf of notes, and when the Margrave of Ben Allery asked him if he was sure he knew what he was doing, he laughed, as brilliant and warm as a summer's day, and said, "I know I do the right thing, Walter. Will that hold thee?" Ben Allery smiled back, my friend Ben Allery, who had not smiled since Bennet Castle fell to the Corambis, and Gerard called across the chamber to Mark and Robert Easton to bring him the blessed knife and candles they had procured, with some difficulty, from the intendant in Harrowgate. I knelt beside Gerard as he began copying a chalk diagram from his notes onto the floor, and said as quietly as I could, would be happier and the magician practitioner had come with us. He graced me with a smile and said, "I know that, Kay. Didst not tell him so and loudly?" Gerard, peace, Kay. He touched my hand where I braced myself against the floor, and his warmth gathered behind my breastbone. He had the right to make his own choices. Thou knowst I have never disagreed with the Corambins about that. I know, said I, and I do not begrudge him this. Gerard laughed again, drawing everyone's attention. Thou liar, he said fondly. Of course thou begrudged him his choice. Wouldst force him to walk the labyrinth at sword's point, and I let thee. But thou wilt not, I said, daring the familiarity, and was rewarded by a moment of Gerard's full attention. No, I will not. Thou art a soldier, and I honor thee. But it is no victory to force all men to live by soldiers' rules. We must allow others to choose their own lives. And the twinkle lit his eyes again, even when we most disdain their impudent folly. I could not help laughing. Yes, my prince, I said, and stood to direct the others into the places indicated by the magician practitioner's notes. Gerard had discussed his plan with me, with Ben Allery, with the other men about him whose judgment he trusted as much as their loyalty. Was a desperate undertaking, and so we all said. But Gerard merely nodded and invited us to propose a better plan, one that would ensure Colox's independence without further loss of life. We could not, and all of us, whether soldiers or courtiers, had been strategists since the cradle. Coloxa was losing the war. Corambis had more men, better supplies, stronger magic. She was not weakened, as my own Rothmarlin was, by generations of fighting bandits and savages in the mountains. She was not contending with 40 indictions of subservience, nor with those who had decided they preferred servitude to freedom. If we were to succeed now, it could not be in direct combat. Thus, the engine.